You gave All or Nothing Arsenal 4.5 stars.
No regrets, no regrets. That's one of my most liked reviews as well.
12 likes, wow.
I thought I had 13, but here we are.
Yeah, buddy.
Welcome back to Old Man Media. This is our second episode with video now, and you can watch that on our YouTube channel, Old Man Media.
We didn't.
I didn't say that on the last podcast, but I will. It'll be a link in the description, and you can come hang with us in all our beautiful glory.
Come hang out in Paul's brand new 70s style room. It's very cool.
Yeah, painted with my own sweat and tears.
I'm Will Rag.
I'm Paul Buchanan.
Lovely to have you all here again. We've got a triple bill today. We thought we were going to do this last time, but we got carried away with our Oscar predictions.
Yeah, our Oscar nomination episode lasted like almost an hour.
Yeah, and that's before we've cut it down, so probably more like 45 minutes. But yeah, that was good fun. You might. When are the Oscars? We didn't.
March, I believe.
Oh, okay. So you won't know who's won yet.
So yeah, we'll get our predictions out early.
Yeah,
and I will look up the exact date. We're gonna have to do an all-nighter or something.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be. God, have you done that before?
15th of March. Have I done the Oscars before? No, I've never cared enough. I've always been earlier we're talking about like, oh, I remember who won the Oscars, and I was like, I don't know, just don't even really pay attention.
It's just
usually, but now that I've got a journalistic
you have a
duty, then yeah.
I don't think you have a journalistic duty to stay awake till 4 a.m. though. I don't think you have to.
Oh, why? I was going to stay up late last night because super nerdy shit that I'm already into the band Pavement, and there's a documentary about the first drummer of Pavement, Gary Young, weird guy, used to like give out vegetables before their shows and like do headstands on the stage and stuff. But there's a documentary about him that came out a few years ago called Louder Than You Think, and they're releasing the soundtrack. And then I signed up for this listening party at 1 a.m. last night, and one of the guys from the band, Spiral Stairs, his name is gonna be.
His name is Spiral Stairs.
Yeah, he's a weird guy. He goes by like a kind of, what do you call it, pseudonym, and he like he's not even, he's like a B-list guitarist in this band. Like he's not great. He's not an integral part of the band. He's wrote a couple songs. I was being too harsh to Spiral Stairs.
Yeah, I mean with a name like Spiral Staircase, you'd think they'd be a bigger part of the band.
No, like apart from, I think there was a case of heads butting between him and Steve, which is why the band eventually broke up. But he was going to be on Zoom, and I was like, I thought it'd be so funny to just like,
hi Spiral, how you doing?
Ask him some questions, and then it got to like just before midnight, and got EP.
Paul has put his nightcap on.
Yeah, I had a little herbal tea, and took my dentures out.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. I mean, I hope you don't mind me saying, but you're not drinking. I don't know how you're going to stay awake till 3.
I'm just going to get some like Monster Energies or something.
Oh, God.
I'm going to become one of those guys, I think.
You're going to be vibrating whilst watching the Oscars. It's going to be horrible. Oh, no. I can't stay awake. Anyway. What's first?
Well, I think we should go in kind of chronological order maybe of how they came out, which would be Sentimental Value.
First. I think that is the order in which we watched them, isn't it?
It's the story. Yeah, we also watched them in this order, so it helps. I'm going to pull up my notes here.
Oh God, he's got notes. I'm just going off the dome. Very Type A, Type B here. Pulls a bit more.
What's Type A, Type B?
Have you not heard about this?
Diabetes.
No, have you not heard about Type A, Type B? I've only been told this recently, but right. I guess it's a TikTok thing. I don't know. I don't have TikTok.
Fuck TikTok.
Old man media, but Type A is organised, very methodical, laid out. Can't just do things. I
wouldn't go that far.
But Type B is like, I don't know, just wing it.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think everyone's a mixture. I don't think anyone's strictly one way. Do you know what I mean?
To be honest, I just before. Because we watched Sentimental Value like maybe a month ago now, just under. beginning of this year anyway. Oh, so like, 20 days ago. And I just needed to refresh myself a little bit. So I kind of just sat down and spent some intentional time thinking about the films and revisiting them. But again, I'm going off the dome of my memory of it. So but we'll get into it. It's a Sentimental Value. I feel like I always fucking butcher his name. Joaquin
Oh my
Trier.
god, the amount of times he's said his name now, and he's pronounced it differently every single time. I've said it every time you've butchered the name. I've gone, no, I think it's Joachim Trier, and he goes, Joachim Trier. That's a new one there.
Joachim Trier.
No, Joachim. Yo. They pronounce J's like your.
But I don't think the Norwegian language and me are very well suited.
I don't think he's going to listen. So I mean, also there is a name. You can just pronounce the name however you want.
Joachim Trier.
Sure.
Is that not right?
No, that's not what I said.
Joachim.
Joachim. I don't know. I don't really care that much, if I'm honest. I don't know why I'm getting heated about it. Anyway, sorry, Joachim Trier, director of Worst Person in the World as well.
Joachim Trier. I can't talk seriously about this guy. Joachim Trier. Is that it?
I'd love. Can you pronounce the actors' names as well?
No, Renate Ransfer.
All right. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, sure.
Okay, so back to my original point, opening point. Joachim Trier is a very sort of humanist director. I find, in the fact that a lot of films are trying to be larger than life and trying to go escape, the mundane, whereas he really leans into that, and I really appreciate that side of him. I thought that was one of the strengths of The Worst Person in the World, is that it's very
down to earth,
very real. I saw an interview with him or with Renate where she was saying that the director Joaquin said not to actually think about her character too much, not to try and flesh it out too much, because in the film she's trying to find her way in life. That's her character doesn't even know herself in the film. And I thought, the way a lot of Hollywood was writing these characters, point A to B, but trying to be true to life, you can't do that. You've got to encapsulate the spontaneity and the confusion and the uncertainty of what it is to be human, and I think that's what he excels in. So I went into this film with all these expectations, and I felt like it was maybe a little bit more fleshed out, a little bit more the way it was written felt like there was a little bit more structure. And annoyingly, so in Worst Person in the World, you've got these chapters and there's all these names, you have the chapters and chapter cards. I got really annoyed by the fact that at the end of every scene it would cut to black, and it would be the sounds kind of hollows out, and it cut to black, and then it'd be into the next bit, and you're like, there's no chapters in this, there's no need for it to be like this. It feels like he's rehashing this concept that he used in his last film, or this sort of film method, and I was just like, I kept getting halfway through the film, I was like, oh, here we go, another cut to black, and it's just you can't just use that as a device every single time and expect it to make something land, something kind of naturalistic land. In fact, by doing that, you're making it not naturalistic. Yeah,
I will be honest, and maybe this is a little bit uncinephiliac of me.
You're a what?
But I actually didn't notice that he'd done that, and if I had noticed it, it would have annoyed me as well.
I think it's just because I got type A autism. I was just I noticed that, and then as soon as I noticed it, it was like you can't unsee it, and it was like, maybe I'm ruining that film for. I don't hope that, because I actually like the film, but it was in the theatre. I got the same sound sucking, the way the sound sort of goes into a vacuum and shuts, and there's a black screen over and over. It kept pulling me out of it a bit, and it kept kind of almost interrupting my immersion and trying to sort of be in the film.
Yeah. So sorry, going back to what you said, so you think this film is more fleshed out than Worst Person in the World?
Yes.
Okay.
In the way that the characters are fleshed out. Yeah. I feel like a good starting point is for me to make this point is Stellan Skarsgård's character feels like a cliche.
Got that one right.
Yeah, I mean, done my homework, mate. Stellan Skarsgård kind of feels like a cliche. He's He's like the old drunk writer, actor, you know, this kind of like, you know, I don't want to say Charles Bukowski type because he's not that far along it, but it is that kind of like washed up middle-age crisis drunk, you know, bad father. You know, it's kind of like an archetype that you see a lot in film. So I felt like instantly that was...
But I think there was a bit more to him than that. I think they wanted to give that impression. But then actually at the same time, you know, he did feel very strongly about his daughters. But he just had an odd way of letting it show.
Yeah, you know, I still feel that whole part of the character is an archetype that I'm talking about. It's like someone who's like self-destructive and like, you know, loves his children, but like keeps fucking things up in a way, or, you know, not being very enveloped in their work and not taking enough time to focus on his children. And like it feels like a kind of common stereotype of, you know, a famous, you know, let's say Tim Buckley. You know, that kind of vibe of being very wrapped up in their own work and neglecting their children. I think you are probably right. I really think Stellan was really good in it. I think it was great. All of the performances I think were great. All of the three central ones. But yeah, just emotionally, it didn't quite land the plane for me. I'd actually already seen the ending. I didn't realise it was the ending for Sentimental Value, but someone had just posted it on Twitter, which is a little bit annoying. But anyway, and they were like, "Oh, how emotional is this?" You know, and I watched it in the context of the film, and it's just it's not emotional.
This doesn't. I mean, we said after the film that it was predictable that was what was going to happen, and I think about halfway through you could have probably guessed it, and that is what happens. And not that that's always a bad thing, but it's like the worst person in the world wasn't predictable in where it was going to end up, and I think that's a huge selling point for it. This one, I really like these types of films where they it's the middle of a family dynamic. You get dropped in it, and something major has happened in the family, and you have to. You throughout the film, you're figuring out what's occurred, and that it's not just spelled out for you. Another director does that really well is Hirokazu Korida, a Japanese director. If you haven't seen Nobody Knows, and what's his big one? Shoplifters, but not Shoplifters. It's the other one.
No, I was thinking someone else.
No, okay, I can't remember the film, but he's really good at that. Really good at dropping you in the middle of a family and going, these are all the characters. Figure yourself out. I think that's great. I really enjoy that, and I think Joachim Trier almost gets it right. I just don't. I think there's something missing for me, but. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the payoff maybe, because in the way that it is more structured as a film, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. You know, I was saying what I liked about, or maybe he was playing to his strength in The Worst Person in the World by being more subtle and less, you know, sort of being a little bit more on the set, being a little bit more spontaneous. Maybe this film required a bit more fleshing out and stuff, and maybe that isn't playing to his strengths, and that's maybe why when the big emotional climax scene happens, it doesn't work as well. It's not pulled off. Because, I don't know, it's just, I felt like Renate Reitzfer wasn't a focus enough on this film. Like, she is technically classed as the main actor in it, or actress, but it's like... there's a whole... She doesn't have a lot of screen time that I remember, and she's not... There isn't really much memorable stuff in there.
For me, the film hints at something a lot deeper going on with her, but never really gets to it. Like, the start of the film, she's, she's about to go on stage, and she is like going crazy and doesn't want to go on stage. She has to be forced on stage, and then gives like a decent performance. And
I forgot about that part. That felt very, very overproduced in terms of like the way it was shot and felt, and compared to the sort of vulnerability and a little bit more like stripped backness of The Worst Person in the World. And that bit didn't sit with me. I completely forgot about it in terms of it didn't really make an impact in the grand scheme of the film.
Yeah, and then there's the bits where they're like, oh, she's doing it again, and she's not coming out of her room, she's not responding to calls, and that happens, but then it doesn't really, not that it has to pay off, but I feel like it has to go somewhere, and just her being in her dad's film, I don't think is big enough of a kind of thematic resolution for me.
I really liked the intro with the... I can't remember what order it was in now. I can't remember if it was that bit first or if it was... There's a bit where it's the school essay and she's writing about the house.
Oh, that's the first. That's the first bit.
That was really cool.
I watched that and go, oh, this is gonna be great.
That was like really well done. And then I think you shouldn't undermine the importance of the house as a metaphor in that film. And the thing I actually only noticed when making these notes is at the end, it's not the house, it's a film set.
Yeah.
And then it's like, is the film a metaphor for trauma or joint trauma, or a metaphor for the, the baggage of the relationship between, and then by it becoming a set where they're filming it, it's like them, I don't know, either hashing it out or it becoming almost a normalized part of the narrative, that so much so that they've built a set out of it to, I don't know, there's a lot to unpack there there's something there about living in a facsimile of your life, and how filmmaking is about using your own personal experiences and creating a world that isn't the world that you actually live in, but is supposed to represent it. And they do hint at the fact that all of Stellan's, I've forgotten his character's name, but all of Stellan's films are very personal. Well, not very, like, this is his most personal, but they all draw on some sort of experience. The only other film that we know of his that's in the film is the one about World War II, and we know that his mother was brutally tortured in World War II. He's drawing on personal, or going back to that theme of generational trauma that is present throughout the film, and how your parents affect who you are, and the baggage that they carry with them and they carry from their parents, and and I think there is some really, really great stuff. Even just talking about it now, I think there's some really, really good stuff there. It's just, altogether, it's too much and not enough at the same time. I feel like I could definitely rewatch it, which means that it's not bad by any means. Like I definitely really enjoyed it. It was a very thought-provoking movie, and I could be up for a rewatch. But who knows? It could be one of those films that the more you see it, the more maybe on the second watch I'll notice things I didn't notice the first time around. It definitely has that potential to me. I think I will be giving it a rewatch. But then, like with the actors in the film, Elle Fanning wasn't that spectacular for me. She served as a symbol or a placeholder in terms of the story, so maybe it's more about the writing of her character, and I think an important one. But I don't know. I just felt like it was like a dynamic that is again set up, but then doesn't really go anywhere. It's sort of, it's like, maybe this is where it's true to life. It kind of just, he goes on these like side arcs, he goes to this film festival, meets Elle Fanning's character, and then suddenly they're hooked up to do this film together about his daughter for the role that she turned down. And there's all these kind of like random occurrences, it almost feels like, that they spend a lot of time on, which maybe don't amount to much in the grand scheme of things.
Do you know what I thought was really interesting? Well, not really interesting, but something I noticed is when Stellan meets Elle, and I can't remember any of the characters' names, but he's like, "Oh, you're going to play my daughter," or a role that was meant for my daughter, and I was then surprised that actually their characters didn't sleep together. I thought that was going to be a part of the film.
I was worried about it. It was one of those where you're like, because he's so old and she seems like a little vulnerable. She just promoted this film that is like, it seemed like they were saying the film was like kind of Hollywood slop. And it's like she's desperately, there's a power dynamic there and stuff. I was like, if that happens, then it kind of it kind of drives home this like point that he's a piece of shit. Like, you know, that's like the Chekhov's gun of, you know, he's a piece of shit, and you're trying to kind of.
But no, I just think it's interesting that it didn't happen, and that.
I mean, that would have been an obvious thing, and I think I'm glad that it didn't happen in a way, personally.
Yeah. Rating out of 5. I think we have to move on to the next one now.
3.5 out of 5.
Okay. I think I gave it 3. But actually thinking about it, I mean, there is a lot there that I did like. So maybe I should watch it again.
That's the thing. It's like I can't remember what I gave it on Letterboxd. I feel like that I might have given it 3, maybe even 2.5 stars. But I don't think I felt that badly about it. But talking about it, unpacking it, I'm kind of rediscovering how dense the film was, and I guess like I said, maybe that's why it's going to benefit from a rewatch. Yeah.
No, I think it does help talking about a film that does have a lot to it and unpacking it. But
I'd like to note as well that Inga. Wait, where did I write it down? Inga Ibstotter. This is my handwriting. Lilias. I've seen a lot of kind of stuff on social media about how she was fantastic in that film. And this is what led to me in the past episode talking about this got a lot of nominations for Oscars, and it's like there's nothing like spectacular about any of these performances. They're all quite understated, I feel. Maybe the most sort of extravagant performance is Stellan's, but yeah, like everyone was saying Inga was amazing in this film, and that she kind of brought the film to life when she was in it. And I'd agree with that, but I wouldn't say it was like any more outperforming than the other members.
Yeah, no. So that's the other lady.
That's the sister who she played this girl in the World War II movie.
Yeah,
and she's like the basically the more grounded one of the two in a way. That's the way that she's panned out. Is that you've got Renate's character who is still very much suffering and finding her feet and getting over all this like shit that she's got going on, and then you've got. And also there's like a thing with she's dating the same guy that she dated in The Worst Person in the World, which I'll circle back to and say that is in itself that I didn't like the fact that they cast the same kind of people, because you come in with these preconceived visions of what you've seen of their relationship in another film, and it can take you a little while to familiarize yourself with the new characters they're playing. And if you're going to do that, then spend the whole film on them maybe, but like they didn't. It was like was it like probably like 10 minutes screen time max between Renate and
they cut him out very weirdly, I thought, as well.
Yeah, but he's and she's having failure in her relationships, and then the sister is like she's got a husband, maybe even a kid, I can't remember, and you know, she's a bit more settled down, so there's just like kind of counterpoint.
Yeah.
She's good in it, actually. She's a cool character. I think she's like maybe the most grounded one in the film, which you need when you've got some chaotic people around you, like chaotic characters, you know, like Renate and Stellan.
Yeah, it is good. Do I think it's Ingmar? What's her name?
Inga Ibstotter Lilias.
Do I think hers is better than Renate? Oh, God, I can't bear anything. Renate, or Stellan's? Probably not. I think probably Renate's probably the best one there. I think she's great in it.
What's your rating out of 5?
3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Should we move on to the Bone Temple?
The Bone Temple.
28 years later.
Got no Oscar noms.
But is it this Oscar season, or is it?
Maybe it's too late for this Oscar season.
I feel like it was released a little bit late. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you might be right actually.
And I don't know. Weird time of year for it to come out. Maybe if it wanted Oscar nominations, I think Danny Boyle.
Danny Boyle didn't direct it.
Well, yeah, actually, it's true.
Nia DaCosta did.
Produced it?
Probably.
I know Cillian Murphy is an executive producer on it, but so directed by Alex Garland.
No, written by Alex Garland, directed by Nia DaCosta.
Nia DaCosta. Oh, okay.
She directed. Oh God. She directed something good. I can't remember what it was now. But yeah. Did you like the first one?
Yes, I liked the first one a lot. I kind of I've got a very like personal relationship with zombie media.
Oh yeah.
I was as like
You were a zombie.
I was a zombie kid. I was like
what? This is COD zombies.
Yeah, like not just that. Like, all zombies. When I was a kid, I was like obsessed with zombies, like what they represent. Like I just like loved. Like I used to play like Left 4 Dead. I used to play Dead Rising. I used to play Call of Duty Zombies. Anything that had zombies in it, like. I remember like when I was like 10, I was like writing like ideas for the next GTA. I think it was GTA 4 had been out and I played it and I was like I want
zombies in GTA 5.
Yeah, one of my recommendations was like, yeah, you know, it's alright, but like, it'd be a lot better if there was zombies in it. And then, you know, they did do zombies in Red Dead Redemption. But anyway, we're getting sidelined. Video games are not old man media, unfortunately.
No, well, I mean, they can be. Well, they probably...
We could talk about Tetris or something.
Pong.
But anyway,
let's talk about Pong. The intricacies of the game Pong. No.
We should do a Mighty Supreme biopic, but it's not ping pong, it's just Pong. Yeah, I was obsessed with zombies, and I remember that kind of died out a bit, and then I remember getting into The Walking Dead as a series when I was like 15, 16, and that first season, man, really hits. You know, you've got I always forget his name because in any other film that he's in, I always refer to him as Shane from The Walking Dead.
Oh, John Bernthal.
It's
I think
Shane
that's
from
the
Walking
second time you've done that on pod.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, that's what I mean. He's great in it, and you've got Rick Grimes, and you've got the guy who plays Glenn, Stephen Yeun.
Stephen Yeun, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the film, I love it when films are that gory and like insane. Just like straight away, just like, and I don't know, I saw people online like. I don't want to talk about online too much in old man media, but they were talking about, you know, obviously the whole...
Facebook, because we just go and we watch AI images on Facebook, and that's where we get our news sources from.
It's just AI memes on Facebook, but talk about how, you know, the whole Jimmy Savile thing is a little bit, you know, having a cult that follows Jimmy Savile. But it makes sense because obviously it would have stopped, like the whole world would have stopped in the original 28 days before all of the stuff came out by Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I think it does make sense, and I don't think it's...
yeah.
But you can't, I don't think there is any way more that you could go, these are bad people, than, you know, them skinning people alive.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's as suitable to use Jimmy Savile as a costume for an evil person in a film that is, you know, it's supposed to be a bit shock horror and a bit like, you know, but a bit edgy, I'd say. And yeah, the whole story as you see in the first film, there's like at the beginning there's this kid in a church and all this stuff happens, and then it kind of moves on, and then you get put into the world of the new characters and 28 years later, and I don't know why I just never really thought about who that kid was, and then in this film it's discovered to be the leader of the gang, Jimmy, played by Jack O'Connell.
Great.
And yeah, so it's weird, they've set it up in the first film, and then this is the film where it's kind of like we're meeting this character and seeing how it all pays off. And yeah, the idea is that he's seen the Teletubbies as a kid on TV, and he's seen Jimmy Savile, and these are his two heroes, and he mixes them together into this weird cult that he's got going around. And it is, you know, I guess it's a guy who's gone insane because of the shit that he's had to do in the Wasteland, and he's trying to make a little bit of joy for himself but also, you know, a sadistic, fucked up joy because he's got this gang of youths basically. And I guess that's another weird thing, is that they are youths that he's got under his wing, even though he's the Jimmy. Yeah. We don't know 100% of his backstory. Who knows? There was a lot, even though it wasn't completely uncovered. I think since the 70s, you know, John Lydon of the Sex Pistols called out Jimmy Savile, and then was famously banned from the BBC afterwards.
Oh, really?
And, you know, that like people knew of it. It was kind of just an unspoken thing back in those days, I assume. Well, I wasn't alive back then.
Well, I think like a lot of people knew, yeah, absolutely.
But... yeah, so I thought that it was going to be a huge kind of story with this Jimmy guy, and I felt like you're kind of put into the film, he gets put into the gang, and then they go and do some fucked up stuff, and then get to spend time with Ralph Fiennes, which amazing. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
That made the movie for me. Ralph Fiennes carried this movie on his back, just with the scenes and the needle drops, and he's making friends with the zombie, and it's like you could just watch the whole movie. Could have just been that, and I would have like had a good time. But then they cross paths later on, and they think he's the devil because he's covered in red, and they worship the devil because I don't know. I will just say like the writing reminds me of the same kind of vibes of. Do you remember Us? That film, and it's like it all makes sense because they went underground at the time when they were doing this big stand, and there was all these little, and Michael Jackson was big at the time, and it was all these little things like they just go. What the writer's done is they've looked at a year and they've gone, let's take some big pop culture moments and let's just like kind of, and it feels a little lazy in my opinion, and a little forced, and a little bit like it didn't, because Jimmy didn't have such a focus on the in this film, maybe it was a little bit more you put to the side, but in Us it really like turned me off the fact that it was all that was kind of the wrapped in a neat bow, and it's like an Easter egg but like kind of a little very obvious one. But yeah, anyway, as I said, because I love zombies as a kid, and
You've got a personal connection with zombies.
I kind of enjoyed the film from the fact that I felt like the genre of zombie films has been very like stagnant for a long time. The reason I bring up The Walking Dead is that was the last time that I felt kind of excited about some new zombie movie. And that tailed off after 3 or 4 seasons. And yeah, nothing zombie related has really come out or impressed me. It's become a little bit of a slop genre, it's just like whack zombie on it, and then
I mean, what else has there been in the past 10 years apart from 28 years later?
There's been a lot of stuff, but it's not very good. I don't know. There's like Bodies with the guy from Skins.
I didn't see that.
Fuck, I can't remember what his name is. Nicholas Hoult. So he's in this weird, I think it was like 2017. It might have even been earlier actually, but he plays it. It's like a kind of weird rom-com where this girl falls in love with a zombie.
That film. I do remember that. I hate looking at Nicholas Hoult, but he's quite a good actor. He's really Nicholas good Hoult. In Mad Max Fury Road. Really, really good.
Yeah.
I think where the film succeeds is the bits with Ralph and Rafe Fiennes. Rafe Fiennes. I don't know.
And
him and the alpha zombie.
Yeah.
I thought those bits were great. I thought
Samson.
Again, it's about threads that don't really lead anywhere. And maybe there is a third part. Maybe it will lead.
Well, this is actually. Again, as I was writing my notes, I was thinking like, the Jimmy stuff didn't really lead anywhere in terms of it's built up in the first movie, and then spoilers, he is hung up upside down on a cross and left for dead. But then I was like, in my head I thought he died, but I was like, do you see his death on screen?
No, but he gets
gets wheeled off by Samson. But we have no idea what's going to happen. In this next part. And I think it is building up for Samson, who had this like pregnant wife who got turned into a zombie, but then she gives birth in the first film, and then they take the baby, they like birth the baby, look after it, and turns out it's not infected, even though it was birthed by a zombie mother, which
because of the placenta gets protected.
So that's the baby is in this like human stronghold, which didn't really get any screen time in this film, so it's leading up to what I think is going to be Samson coming back to reclaim his baby, which at this point it sounds very stupid when I'm talking about it. Like it gets to the point, but
it is just like an insane film where I think anything could happen. I don't know if I don't think they're going to do the predictable thing with the third one, especially with the ending. But yeah, I enjoy these types of films that's gory horror, and that they do something interesting, and there's a couple of good performances, and it looks good. I think that's the best thing you can say for it, is that I think the film does look
it's all good. Shot on an iPhone
again.
Film bros love to. Was this one not?
I thought I know the first one was. I didn't know the second one was.
I just assumed they were doing all of them on iPhones.
Maybe they are. I think iPhones are really good cameras.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting to the point now where the technology is catching up, and there's no real excuses for anyone not being able to do anything in this age.
Oh God, don't say that, Paul. I'll start having an existential crisis. Anyway, yeah, I enjoyed it. I can't really say exactly why I enjoyed it, but I definitely see it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's like zombies films. There is an element of just like, giving yourself up to the stupidity. But
yeah,
what I like,
they are very stupid.
What I like historically about zombie films is usually they're used to comment on society. I think one of the biggest cultural examples of this is Day of the Living Dead, or not Night of the Living Dead, but the second one, Dawn of the Dead, which is set in a shopping mall. And that was supposed to be a metaphor for consumerism. You watch the film though, it's not actually that heavily laid on, but I do like these little kind of pastiches, and also with COVID obviously happening in 2020, there is a kind of thread of connection between the quarantine kind of vibes and zombie vibes, end of the world kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it's still a genre that's got some worthy merit in it, but it just happens that a lot of the time I think directors tend to use the lowest hanging fruit when they make these films, which I don't think Danny Boyle or Neo DaCosta have done in this film. And I will say that Alex Garland's writing is a lot better than it has been in other films that I've seen. Even though I was talking about how that kind of Jimmy stuff and it's like that kind of works in the context of a zombie movie, and I'm like, maybe he is, compared to writing war dramas, maybe he is better suited to this kind of style of film, which can be a bit more outlandish.
Yeah. I mean, going back to what you were saying about it being a metaphor for current day, I don't know if for me it doesn't have to do that. I mean, it's cool when it does, and everything. But I think I just enjoyed it just for just the sheer stupidity of it, and I do think it's not particularly novel, and it's not particularly revolutionary for the zombie genre in any way. I just think it was Ralph Fiennes' character, I think, was very interesting, and I would have liked to have seen more of Spike. Really? Yeah.
The whole kind of film, he's like very timid and scared, and he's taken under the wing of this girl. What's her name? I've got the actress's name. I can't remember what because in the cast she's just cast as like Jimmy, and then they're all called Jimmy something, and they've all got different names, but they all begin with Jimmy, and it's all very like confusing to talk about on a podcast. But played by Erin Kellyman, I believe, and I'm excited to see how the relationship between those two builds. In spoilers again for anyone who's not seen it, Cillian Murphy and what is assumed to be his daughter appear at the end of the film, and they're crossing paths with Spike and this other girl. So that's basically the setup for the plot of the next one. I got a feeling they're gonna do some like bullshit stuff, like kill Cillian in like the first 10 minutes or something.
Really? You think so?
Nah, I think that would be a very funny.
It's been a long time since I've seen 28 Days.
So yeah, you were saying like it's not revolutionising the zombie genre, but I think 28 Days Later did, because it was the first time that zombies were shown to be like fast. A lot of the time it was slow, stupid, eating brains, and then in this they're like humans, full strength, and but they just want to kill you. It was like the kind of that intensity and fast pacedness of it that hadn't been really seen in zombie films like that before, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, the actual filmmaking of it was quite interesting because they did it really early morning or something.
Oh yeah, there's the whole London Bridge thing, and they did it really early on a Sunday or something. And that's the streets were just naturally covered with shit apparently because of they
hadn't been out.
The party of the night before. But
you can see that they are trying to do that with the shooting it on iPhone and everything. But does it work? I don't know fully. In terms of the actual filmmaking, I think Nia DaCosta does a fine job. Nia DaCosta did Candyman, which is the film I was trying to think of earlier, which wasn't good. I remember it being good.
You said she's got some good stuff good,
and then
that was produced by Jordan Peele, which is the only reason I went to go see it. And it was, I don't know, the original Candyman's kind of mid, and this
I haven't
film
seen that one.
maybe was better than the original, maybe not. It's one of those where it's like when you remake an old film, you lose some of the old vintage charm of it, which can sometimes you know be difficult to come back from if you know it's not better than the original, and it wasn't. So
yeah, no,
but
yeah, I mean, I still really liked it. I thought I'd been talking a lot of shit on the Bone Temple, but it was good. I thought well directed, actually. Surprising.
I liked it less than the first 28 Years Later.
Really?
Half a star less, I'd say.
Yeah. No, I think I'd agree, actually. But you gave it 3.5.
But I gave this 3.5. I gave the first one 4 stars. Cause, yeah. Just reignited a little bit of the child in me, the love zombies.
Yeah, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the first either. So yeah, I think 3.5.
You know, there's a whole fun of those like zombie films as well. It's like, you know, the get around, the workarounds that, you know, they come up with to fight zombies, and, you know, like, oh, guns are too loud, let's use bow and arrows, and let's do that, you know, all these like little things these little niche things. Like one of the cool things in the first movie is they obviously have this stronghold on in the middle of like this it's like an island in the middle of like a loch or something, and the tide rises, so you know, at night time nothing can cross, which I thought was like a cool like idea, or a kind of tactic to be safe from the zombies while you sleep. But yeah, what would you give this out of 5? 3.5 again?
Yeah, no, same again. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm excited for the third one. Apparently Danny Boyle's back for the third one.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to have Cillian and Danny Boyle both working together again.
I just want to say quickly that I did really write off Danny Boyle after fucking Yesterday. Do you remember that film?
Oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen Yesterday, but
I didn't watch it because the whole concept of the film was just like... And then I have seen the ending. Have you seen the ending? Where John and Paul come down the steps at the... he's on some kind of like daytime panel show. And John and Paul come down the steps. The film's about... Obviously, everybody forgets the Beatles except this one guy. And what is even going... I don't know. Danny Boyle, not washed, not cooked, not chopped.
I think the film tries to make a point. I haven't seen it, but Yesterday tries to make the point of like, is it, you know, is it revolutionary, or is it right timing, right place, you know, with music and art and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool concept, but I just think, you know, the Beatles is quite a scary thing to touch, and I think unless you're using documentary footage and Peter Jacksoning it up, I do not want to see you, Paul Mescal. So this segues quite nicely into the next film we'll be talking about, Hamnet.
Your favourite.
I'm not a big Paul Mescal fan.
Let's get that out of the way.
I don't really know why. I would like to watch Normal People. I've not seen that, and that looks like it would be up my alley. But in Gladiator, I liked Gladiator 2. I liked it, but I wasn't there for Paul Mescal, which sometimes, you know, I feel like there was an element of star power bringing people into the second viewing of Gladiator. But yeah, never been impressed with much that I've seen of Paul Mescal yet.
Yeah, I mean,
and this film solidified that.
Really, the only thing I've seen is Normal People, and I thought he was excellent in it. I thought he was amazing. I thought, yeah, very understated, very thoughtful. Yeah, just a great actor that is able to do things very naturally, never really over the top, very restrained. Yeah, I thought really, really good at Normal People, and I think Hamnet struggles more from the fact that I don't think... Surprisingly, the character of William Shakespeare I don't think is as fleshed out as it could have been. And I think possibly then the wife struggles in the opposite direction, where the character is overwritten.
Yeah, I mean, you got William Shakespeare, you know, very, very well-known historical figure. So I can understand not spending time with him, but I don't think because I think the whole idea of it as well is to focus on the wife. What's the actress?
Jessie
Buckley's character, Agnes, as she's called in the film, and I just think she I don't know, the focus is on her, but I don't think she's very well written. I don't think she's overwritten. I don't think she's underwritten. I just think she's not very well written. You know, she's kind of like this strong, stoic, goofy. Like, you know, you meet her and she's like the kind of crazy, witchy girl next door, and then Paul Mescal shags her in a shed, and then suddenly they're gonna get married, and then it was all very 0 to 100. And then I was like, I thought from how it was advertised, it was going to be a romance kind of film, and I didn't feel that at all. Ain't no love, on screen love there, and I think Paul Mescal is obviously kind of supposed to be portraying a character who's, you know, he's gone off to London and he's doing his own thing and he's starting his way as a playwright, and you know, he's outgrown his family in a way. And yeah, I don't know. Even it's kind of the same thing as Sentimental Value, to be fair, where I'm talking about it and I'm realizing there is more to unpack of the film. I guess going off of my initial viewing and coming out of the cinema, you know, you have expectations going in. The expectations aren't met, and then you come out feeling a little bit robbed of your time. Just sort of how I felt. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't fully agree with the assessment of Jessie Buckley's character. I think that it was almost written in a way as like, yeah, we're going to get this woman an Oscar, and she's going to have all of this really important stuff to do in the film, and she's going to be very emotionally complex. And yeah, I think they then overdid it. But I still think Jessie gave a good performance. And I think far better than Paul Mescal. I think she has a lot more to play with than Paul.
I'm not slating the performance. I'm slating the writing of her character. But her performance, I thought, was fairly good. But yeah, I felt like it was a bit over the top in the kind of, you know, the pregnancy. But then it comes to a directing choice of being like, and even an editing choice of being like, I'm going to spend X amount of time on this scene. And, you know, it just felt a little bit like, I felt like it was real trying to like emotionally juice you, as the phrase that I've often used thinking about that film. And it's like, it really is trying to make you feel something, but it's trying so hard. It's almost the opposite of Sentimental Value in the way where it's trying so hard to make you feel something that you're like, ugh. Whereas Sentimental Value isn't trying not too hard to make. It's trying to be like,
it was too subtle.
Understated, subtle. Yeah. So, you know, I just didn't. I felt like there was a point where I felt emotional, and that was only at the end when, spoilers for anyone who's not seen it, Hamnet, the boy, after the like play, Hamlet is seen by the wife, and she's she's kind of understanding her husband's view and trauma, and it's all kind of come together in this play. And then the ghosts, or, you know, just an image of the child walking through the set on stage and looking back at the audience, and it's like this heartbreaking bit where you're like, even though he died young as a kid, he's still left this mark in the world, and he's looking back at the audience, and it's like he still exists to them. And it's not, now he's surpassed even just being a memory for his mother and father, and his, you know, despite William getting a lot of flack from his wife for being absent, he's managed to immortalize his child. And then I just felt that was like a beautiful sort of coming together of what I'd been sitting through for the last like hour or so, which was not interesting me that much, but that scene was really emotionally well done, I thought, and very concise.
Yeah. No, I thought, for me, the real selling point of the film wasn't Paul or Jessie, but it was the character of the child, and yeah, for me that was incredibly moving. The idea that a boy would be so, you know, how old is he? He's like 6 or 7 or something, isn't he? He would be so brave in the face of death that he would be willing to sacrifice himself for his sister, and that he would be, you know, he would face death instead of her because he loved her so much, and that, you know, there must have been so many parents at that time that lost children. I mean, that was, obviously it's the Black Death, isn't it? So, and it's about these two people get to recontextualize their grief through Shakespeare's play, and that is an incredibly moving idea and thought. That really got me, and I think that was a really good part of the film.
The lead up to it
was it dull the rest of the time? Maybe.
Like, I think the sets were, and the costumes and all of that design was really good. A period piece, and set in a specific time, and they're living out in the country in the beginning, and you've got the whole kind of beige mum vibe, and it's like it's a little bit of a fetishized aesthetic, I think, with the whole witchy woman, and English folklore and all of that kind of imagery that I feel like you see sort of pastiched in that alternative girl's bedroom that you end up back at the end of the night. But it's that kind of stuff feels a little hollow to me, but I can't say that I think that was the more of the portrayal of it rather than the actual costumes and set design, because I thought those were really good.
Most of the components for a great film were there. I'm not convinced on Chloe Zhao's directing capabilities. I have seen The Rider, and unfortunately, I've seen that Marvel film she did, which I can't remember the name of, Elementals?
Not seen it.
And
as soon as I see Marvel, I'm like, unless it's the original X-Men, which were like kind of shambles of a movie, but I love them.
Yeah.
Unless it's Hugh Jackman,
with that hair,
ripping out his claws, getting his claw on.
And what was the old film she did? Was the first film was Songs My Brother Taught Me.
Eternals, is that the Marvel thing you're thinking?
Yeah. What did I say? Elementals.
Yeah.
Eternals. Terrible, God, awful film, by the way. The bit where they're crying over the atom bomb's just been dropped. It's just like, Jesus Christ, talk about bad taste. Yeah.
That's what I mean. I mean, from what you've just described there was similar feelings from me towards this film about how it was trying to elicit emotions from its viewers, and it's like trying to be a John Lewis Christmas advert the whole time.
Actually, that might be a fair criticism. Actually,
I've just nailed it. Put that, quote that, attribute it to me, immortalise me. Chloe Zhao is just trying to be a John Lewis Christmas ad the whole time.
Wow. Okay.
Boom. Mic drop. Put my notes away. I'm fucking.
I was going to say something about Chloe Zhao.
You absolutely can.
So The Rider is really good, and you should watch that. I know
you rider gonna miss me when I'm gone. That's the Grateful Dead. Rest in peace, Bob.
And her first film was Songs My Brother Taught Me, about life on a Native American reservation, and then she did Eternals and Nomadland. And Eternals and Nomadland are awful. I hate Nomadland with a passion. I really, really dislike that film. I think it's a terrible depiction of what Chloe thinks poor people live like in America, and just everything about the film was just awful. And I love Frances McDormand as well, but Hamnet, I think, was, we talked about subtlety and naturalism in Trier's films. I think he does it a lot better. Sorry, but
I don't even know what Zhao is trying to do. Like, it's not subtlety, it is like emotional porn. Like, it's trying to try, and so like it's so try hard in terms of the emotional side of things, and I just don't think that's the best way to get emotion out of a viewer. I think you've got to kind of build a basis and build some ground with them, which I didn't feel in this film. I didn't really care about any of the characters that much. I just think the concept of a child dying is obviously very sad, so you're kind of you're kind of got an advantage in that emotional battle there. You're portraying something which is just like, you know, heartbreaking, maybe one of the most heartbreaking experiences for a human being day to day. But you know, I just think the rest of it, do I really resonate with any of the characters? Did they feel like pastiches of, you know, what a 16th century family might be, and you know, farmer, and you know, it's all very like feudal and kind of, yeah. I just did not really sink into this film emotionally until the end. Yeah,
I think, I mean, for me,
oh God, there was the bit where he's by the side of the Thames, William Shakespeare, and he's coming up with this brand new play. To be or not to be? That is the question. Oh, that's good. I should use that. Let's get in the studio and fucking write Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, come on, man. So shit. Like, when you're doing a historical character like that, it irks people when it's a recent musician. When it's a historical character, it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, what?
Yeah.
This, like, it's more believable in a modern context, but then in the olden days, you can't seriously imagine William Shakespeare out on the Thames saying that to himself, you know, like, just...
I feel like... I could. I feel like... I don't know, we don't know anything about William Shakespeare, but I feel like he could certainly be that corny. I just think to write...
William Shakespeare, famously corny-ass guy.
But I think to write like that, you kind of had to be a little bit... Maybe I'm completely wrong. But the bit that got me emotionally from this film is not the bit that, yeah, I think you quite rightly say they're juicing you. Which is the... The emotional part of the film for me was the boy, and not him dying necessarily, but him facing death instead of his sister. For me, it wasn't the grieving mother, which I think says more about Zhao's directing than Buckley's acting. And I think, because I think Buckley's acting was good, if over the top at times. But I just don't think Zhao does her justice, and I think the same could be said about Nomadland. And whilst McDormand, from my memory of the film, she was quite good in it. I haven't seen it since it came out, but I don't think Zhao. Again, I don't think Zhao does her justice. But I think the bits that I did gel with me for the film did gel really well, so I think I did enjoy it quite a bit more than you did. So off of that, what did you give it?
Oh, Letterboxd officially at the time 2 stars out of 5
officially.
And do you know what, I wanted to be a little bit of a shit taker and just say like 1.5 stars, but the issue for me is that one last scene I keep going back to, where the whole play happens, and then afterwards you kind of the whole film is contextualized, and that is a really good like 20 minutes of cinema. So
yeah, I
that
think
brought it up a lot for me. So I will stick with my staunch rating of 2 stars out of 5.
Sticking with your guns. I don't know. Yeah, that scene as well. I mean, we didn't really talk much about that scene, but that was really quite moving. The like I said before, recontextualizing grief in a play, and then having your grief as a communal experience, and having everyone share in that, and that it's seen quite literally through the arms being reached over to the stage to try and touch Hamlet as he's dying, and you think about how many people died during the Black Plague, and how awful that must have been for everybody all the time. It was just terrible, and they have this one moment where they can go, oh, we're all going to pitch in, and help you grieve. And I think that, incredibly moving. And so for those few reasons I've noticed, I'm actually gonna give it 3.5. For those watching at home, you can see Paul shake his head as I said that. He clearly disagrees with me, but I don't care.
I'd have nothing more to say on this film. The sooner we move off it, the better.
Should we talk about something else?
What else?
I don't know. I thought you might have something. I don't know. I wanted to leave on a lighter note than that.